My name is Brian. I live in Miami. Brought me to Vibravision is a bunch of my friends started coming. When they first told me about it, it sounded like completely made up, but they were my friends. I don't think they were high. So I was like, okay, I gotta check this out. Some of my friends, they've learned to break iron with their hands and not break their bones. It's like, it's magic, so. I've done a lot of other meditation practices, and how this is different in that some of them are like all about getting lost, and this is a meditation practice to actually achieve something that other people can see. Think of it as applied meditation, not just go pass out for 2 hours while you get lost in your head. So that was refreshing to me because I get antsy if I sit still for too long. So that kind of surprised me that like the meditations were so like to the point, and I appreciate that. So I found people that, some that are like, say that came here even skeptical, some people that are like, from all different careers. There's physicians that are here, there's engineers, there's people that repair cars. There's a lot of different walks of life that are here, but ultimately we're all learning to walk, together. So, and by that I mean like find things that we can't see because we're blindfolded. It's shown my kids, like I've found stuff and they're like, what the hell, So it's cool to be like learning like a little kid, but we're all like, adults, 40, 50, 60 years old. Some of them as young as 20, 13 even, but yeah, so it's just all sorts of people. So if you think, is somebody like me here, then yeah, there's somebody like you here. So the way Mas Mike's teaching it, it's funny. It's like sometimes like the way he explains it, it's like you don't even understand what you are gonna forget in a day. So he repeats it, he gives it a different way, and then you like hear the same thing 2 or 3 days later, and you're like, oh, I actually didn't understand that. So he's very patient in that. It's almost like being like a language teacher. It's like you can't be angry at a student for forgetting a word 2 days later. This is like learning, one, there's words from another language in this program. Not so many you gotta learn another language, but like even the way to piece everything together, it's not just, it's not something that somebody could just made up in a weekend at their house. This is like hundreds of years of teaching, and Mas Mike he's doing an excellent job of taking 25 years of his life and giving it to us in 5-day chunks. So I appreciate that because, how many people would dedicate 15, 20 years of their life to learn something and then squeeze it down to as short as possible? Usually people want to blow it out. Like you go to like a monastery, they say you got to stay here for 30 years to learn it too, because that's what happened to me. But Mas Mike's not doing that to us, so. I've seen just changes in how I approach breathing, and I know that sounds really weird, but like a lot of what we do here is breathing, like work. But I'm being more sure of my breath. That came up when I was in the ocean, and I did a free dive with my snorkel. Like I think before that would have freaked me out, but I was willing to do it because I was comfortable with holding my breath. Even though, say, some of these little pieces you might have encountered elsewhere, that when you practice it every day, you're reminded to use them. So things to calm yourself down, like some of these different breathing techniques, it's useless to know it but not do it. So having it, I've been doing it more just whenever I need to. I think people that should come to Vibravision, there's a couple of buckets, but like one, I'd say if you're disillusioned with life, I'm not saying suicidal, like if you are, please get help. But like if you think you've seen everything and life's just not that interesting anymore, please come to this, because this is a whole different dimension that you probably haven't seen or you probably haven't believed, and then you can experience it for yourself. Other people that have done a lot of different meditation practices, and maybe they're looking for that next level, that next layer to apply their meditations or even experience things. And this is stuff that you're learning to do that other people can see that you're doing. It's not just like, oh, I had the most amazing meditation in my head. Just, it's funny, like even if you don't know anybody, if you're the only person coming here, it's a very welcoming environment. I knew like, probably 5 or 6 people pretty well before I came, and now I've gotten to know everyone in the class across the 5 days. It's a growing community, it's not a place of exclusion, it's a place that's welcoming people. So I don't know if you've ever encountered that, where it's like, this is where the cool kids are and they're not taking anybody else. Like this is a very welcoming place to come to, and also to ask questions. This is like, I've been in learning environments where, you might be afraid to ask questions and things like that. This is not that way. Everybody appreciates that. They work with you extra, and it's not just Mas Mike. He has several instructors that he's trained over the last 25 years who are also here to help you. So if you don't get the help that you need while you're here, it's because you didn't ask. There's people here who are like willing and ready to help you. Level 2 from level 1. So level 1, we learned a lot of things. And the interesting thing about knowledge is that if you only learn this much, like you're comfortable with forgetting 90% of this much. But then when you find out there's this much to know, that little bit you were holding on to seems so small, it's almost useless. And so like there was things that I had stopped doing or didn't realize they were important that I had learned in level 1. And then I came to level 2 and finding out distinctions of like, oh, you need to do it like this. And then there was adaptations and different variations in level 2. Coming to level 2 is a reinforcement, short, review day of stuff, but it's not just a review. It's like a new point in time that you're being reminded of all these things in the environment of how you do this stuff well. And that's very hard to replicate by yourself at your house. Vibravision started weekend sessions for people that graduate from these things, and so it's once a week. But seriously, like if you want to get better at this is like a choice that do I do this on a routine basis? Do I integrate this into my life practices? And it's not just so you can remote see things, it's so you can find peace inside of yourself.